What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into First Take on this Friday. I'm Charlie Arnold, joined right here in New York by Super Bowl champion NFL analyst Ryan Clark. We also have the host of The Will Cain Show, Will Cain. Guys.
What's up, Charlie?
It's Friday. What's going on?
Hey, we're just trying to hold it down today. We got one more day before the weekend really gets kicking. Let's get it in.
Let's get it in. All right, well, let's say we get started with what was going down last night right here in New York. We got our first glimpse of Giants rookie quarterback Daniel Jones in NFL action in their 31-22 win over the Jets. And despite only playing one series because of a weather delay, he shut down some haters. He went 5 for 5 for 67 yards, finishing with a 12-yard pass to Ben Fowler. And here's Giants head coach Pat Shurmur.
I think slow your roll. I mean, this is just his first go-round, and I think he did a good job. As I mentioned all along, he's done nothing to disappoint us, and certainly when you take the team down the field and score a touchdown, it's a good start, something good to build on. And we got a lot of time left before we start playing games, and nothing at this point has changed.
Not too shabby. Well, Eli Manning still set to start under center, but Will, what do you think? Do the Giants now have a bit of a quarterback controversy?
The Giants have a full-blown quarterback controversy.
Already?
Ryan. Already. Did you see it? Did you hear Charlie?
The one series?
5 for 5? Touchdown?
He was looking good.
He looked nice.
So you're into it too?
What can you complain about as of right now?
Come on, Will. Tell me why.
Here's why the Giants have a quarterback controversy, Ryan. First of all, Daniel Jones looked amazing last night. And I get that life is about expectations. Set them low and aim high, and
Absolutely.
Everybody's happy. But here's the deal. The Giants had a quarterback controversy before this even started, okay? 72% of the quarterbacks taken in the first round have started a minimum of 10 games since 2008. The number of guys that really didn't start their first year, their rookie year, that I can think of over that same time frame is what? One, it's Jake Locker. He is the only first-round rookie quarterback that didn't get a start. So let's set the standard first. This was a franchise that was toying with Eli Manning as it was. This is a franchise whose commitment to Eli Manning was already tenuous. And this was a franchise who, like every other franchise in the NFL, is going to have to start the first-round quarterback that they just drafted, number 6 overall. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Daniel Jones starts this year. And then we get this last night. And then we get this 5 for 5 with a touchdown.
5
Ryan,
for 5 changed the game.
It was a quarterback controversy before the game. Now it's on. It's full-blown on.
Well, one, the reason it wasn't a quarterback controversy before the game is because everybody thought he would stink. Right? Before the game, when the draft pick was made, everyone was hard on Dave Gettleman. You could have gotten him later. You could have gotten a pass rusher with the 6th pick of the draft. So Josh Allen was still there, who eventually went to Jacksonville. So it was all these different things. And they're saying, you know what? Daniel Jones can't play. So this is a surprise to everyone because the bar was set so low that if he did anything that wasn't disastrous, we were going to say this was a success. And so I don't want to downplay what Daniel Jones was able to do. Daniel Jones hit the receivers that were open. He read the defense pre-snap and knew where things were going to happen and dropped the balls where they needed to be. But here's why it's not a controversy, because there's already a plan, right? I was a part of this organization in the offseason when Eli Manning was drafted, and they had Kurt Warner. And eventually Eli Manning took Kurt Warner's spot when Kurt Warner had a winning record, because when they got him, they had a plan. Now, Daniel Jones helps them out, because he was going to play snaps this year. They understood that Eli couldn't do it. That's probably why on 3rd and 8 in Eli's one drive, we saw a draw. We don't want to see him do well. We want this outcry for Daniel Jones to start. And as the season goes along and as Eli continues to Eli, as we've seen him do over the last 3 or 4 years, Daniel Jones will get his spot. But this isn't a situation where Daniel Jones is going to start week 1. This isn't a situation where there's going to be an open quarterback competition. There's a plan. They understand they can't ruin Daniel Jones, and you don't want to throw him out there to the wolves early, because this cover 3 and cover 2 that we saw Greg Williams sit back in last night, Jamal Adams will be on that line of scrimmage rushing at Daniel Jones. It'll be a little different week 1.
RC, I suspect that Daniel Jones will not start week 1, but he will be starting within the first half of the season. And if there's a plan in New York, it's news to me, you, or anyone else. I've heard Gettleman talk about maybe it's not the Kansas City plan. Maybe it's the Green Bay plan. Maybe Daniel Jones will sit for years the way that Aaron Rodgers did behind Brett Favre. And like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
100%.
Daniel Jones just threw the first punch. Man, this right here is going to force the Giants to confront reality sooner than they ever wanted. I'm unconvinced they ever had a coherent plan that they were sticking to with some level of principle. I think they were making somewhat decisions ad hoc. You know, I have to do this. I want Saquon over Sam. That means I got to take Daniel in the next year. I don't think there was ever any 2-3 year plan that they were slowly unfolding for us rubes who couldn't grab it. But here's the thing. You talked about last night, Ryan. Give me Kyler Murray's night, obviously Dwayne Haskins' night, which wasn't very nice. Daniel Jones's night, these kind of throws that I saw last night, and you got to tell me, I was extremely impressed. Set aside 5 for 5 in the touchdown. It's the kind of throws he was making, the windows he was putting it into.
So the one window, there was over a yard of separation in all of these throws when you average them out, right? The one throw that I thought was a nice throw was into the cover 2 in the red zone where he hits the ball in the corner pocket. Other than that, these were one-read throws that he could get out of his hand quickly. This play action opens up right across the middle to Latimer. That's an easy throw for an NFL quarterback. But you're right. The bar was set so low, we feel a certain way about Daniel Jones. I want you to watch the ball.
Look at that. That's the play you're talking about. That's the good play action. That's the good 17, 20-yard pass to Latimer that he runs off the play action. It's got some zip on the ball. It makes it over the defensive
my question to you is, Will, when you watch a ball come out of Kyler Murray's hand, and Daniel Jones, is it even remotely the same?
Kyler Murray had some amazing zip on the ball.
When you watch, even Dwayne Haskins, a guy you might not be high on.
Talk about how far the ball traveled downfield. Kyler, for all that we love, that thing was thrown shallow last night when Kyler was throwing the ball. This is Daniel Jones putting the ball downfield. I don't know if they have another one. I think this is his second play from coverage. He does this slant pass to Golden Tate, right? And he slips it right between the linebacker and the cornerback into a really tight window with some real zip on the ball. And you're right. The touchdown pass into the back of the end zone was the most impressive throw. I mean, that's floated nicely over the DB. But look, this is a
4-yard pass.
That's not the one I'm talking about.
Are you talking about this one?
Look at this, right there into that window. That's not a nice NFL pass.
That is not a nice NFL pass. That is a pass that any quarterback who is playing in the preseason, not named Lamar Jackson, you expect them to make. These are
traveling downfield. I've got several pretty tight windows.
Well, Kane, you are a prisoner of the moment. You live here. You're tired of seeing Eli ruin the franchise.
Oh, I'm a Cowboy fan. I got no use for this. There's no reason for me to pump this up.
When you watch Daniel Jones play, I just want you to pump the brakes. Now, if we see this in Game 3 and he's the starter of the New York Giants in Game 3 and people are game planning and they're coming after Daniel Jones and he's having to go 1, 2, 3 in the progression, if he gets hit in the mouth, which you said that's what everybody has a plan and it goes out of the window, then we get to see something different. But judging off of this week,
I hear you,
you know what it says?
It's one series.
Because we were thinking disaster, right, or euphoria.
Yes.
Right? That's what Mike Tannenbaum talked about, disaster or euphoria. So it wasn't disaster, so it must be this.
Be clear. This is not an overreaction. What I am saying to you today, telling you there's a quarterback controversy in New York, it's not an overreaction to one series in week 1 of the preseason. What Daniel Jones did last night was very impressive. However, the controversy was on before this. The controversy was on when they drafted him number 6 overall. In the NFL, that means Eli is on the clock. The controversy is on.
We know he's on the clock. He should have been on the clock 5 years ago.
But he wasn't. And now he is.
And a lot of people on social media last night, as much hate as Daniel Jones has gotten, a lot of people already calling for him to be the starter this year for the Giants.
Because the only quarterback
on the internet said something?
The only quarterback people thought was worse than Daniel Jones coming into this year was Eli Manning. He's the only one that people thought was worse anyway.
Thus the controversy.
Let's move on from here. Perfect passer rating to start off his NFL career for Daniel Jones. And guess what? He is back. Stephen A. makes his return to First Take on Monday, and you can bet the opinions will be flying fast and furious. So be sure to join us 10 a.m. Eastern for his big return.
On Le'Veon Bell, goodbye. The championship aspirations remain. Thursday, August 15th, join First Take on the road from Steelers camp. Head coach Mike Tomlin and other Steelers superstars will join Stephen A. Max in yours truly. Don't miss it.
Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, our UFC Fight Night main card has flyweight champ Valentina Shevchenko defending her belt against Liz Carmouche in the main event. The prelims start at 5 Eastern, so be sure to download the ESPN app if you're watching on your mobile device or visit ESPNplus.com.
everybody's going to say that we could be and should be Super Bowl contenders. I think this moment is going to be more iconic than we all realize right now.
2 minutes, 13 seconds. That's how long it took for Baker Mayfield to take the Browns 89 yards down the field, completing 5 of 6 passes and capping the drive off with a 21-yard touchdown strike to Rashard Higgins, helping the Browns to a 30-10 win against the Redskins. Okay, we got a one-and-done series night from Mayfield, but after this impressive performance, Ryan, are the Browns going to live up to the hype this season?
They absolutely are. And this is going to be the time where Will says something like, well, it was only one series, even though he's ready to start a quarterback controversy.
Playing chess.
Quarterback controversy. Because of Daniel Jones. When you look at this team and what Baker Mayfield was able to do right out of the gate last year, breaking the touchdown record for rookies and kind of the proficiency he played the quarterback position with. Now, you add to that you have Odell Beckham Jr., you get Qerim Hunt in the middle of the season, and think about what are some of the expectations of this team. One is they're going to be explosive offensively. 2 is that they're going to challenge to win the AFC North. And those are 2 things that this team is most certainly going to do. Baker Mayfield is going to take a step up and ascend into the top 10 quarterbacks of this NFL, of this league, maybe even be a Pro Bowl quarterback, depending on how this team plays and the rest of the quarterback.
To be a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Well, I'm not talking about an alternate, right? I'm not talking about a guy that just gets in, but a guy that is voted there. He's also going to be the leader of this team. I was in this building in the offseason. I saw the way that he walked around and commanded the respect of the other players on this team. And then when you watch him throw the football, the accuracy, the zip, some of the things we talked about with Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield was the first installment of that. But we watched him do it on this level. This is the most talented offensive roster from a skill position standpoint in the entire NFL. And that includes the Los Angeles Rams. That includes the Kansas City Chiefs, who have the most dynamic quarterback in the league. None of those teams will be able to do offensively what they do in the ways that the Cleveland Browns can create mismatches all over the field. It's going to be pick your poison, and it's going to be a great year for Freddie Kitchens and this team.
I think you're wrong. But here's where I think you mess up. Okay, here's where I think you're wrong. You have wrongly assessed what the hype is on the Browns. I don't think that's all it's required to live up to the hype is to be an explosive offense and challenge in the AFC North. I think the hype for the Browns right now is at the highest of levels. The way people talk about the Cleveland Browns, and in ways, the way you're talking about the Cleveland Browns right now, we're talking about AFC Championship game. We're talking about absolute winner of the AFC North. And I think they will fall short of those types of measurements. I believe this is a playoff team. I believe it's at a minimum, got to make the second round of the playoffs to live up to the hype that's been set for them now. And I don't think that they will. I think they still trail the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North. Now, here's the thing. I can't keep up with the pendulum, man. The hype pendulum is out of control, Ryan. A year ago, I'm not going to say I was the only one, but I was one of the few who were like, Baker Mayfield needs to go #1 overall.
So
I don't want to hear about hype.
So you were listening to me when I was telling people that.
Too?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we were all right. We're together. I didn't want to hear about height. I didn't want to hear about, how tall quarterbacks need to be. I didn't want to hear about system. I didn't want to hear about all of that. I'm a Texas Longhorn fan. I saw what that guy could do against my team and the way and why he was able to do it. I believe in Baker Mayfield. And at the time, were we not kind of in the minority on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the Baker Mayfield.
Absolutely.
Now, here we are a year later, and the hype swings, the pendulum swings so far the other way, I can't keep up.
But
Top 10 quarterback.
Why did it swing, though?
Because
he balled out.
Ryan, because everybody's a follower. It's not just because of what he did. He did great. He did. But it's because everybody's like, oh, that Browns thing turned out. Let me see if I can be the fastest and the furthest now that it's kind of obvious they're going to be good. That's why it's out of control. The real assessment of the Cleveland Browns is this. They look great on paper. You're right. That skill position group with Nick Chubb and Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry and David Njoku and Baker Mayfield looks great on paper, as does what they've added on defense. It's still led by a rookie head coach, much less a guy who spent hardly any time as the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. And he has to not only bring all those egos, all those personalities together, he's got to keep them together under pressure. And the type of hype that is being put on them is pressure.
But this is what you miss, though. It's what personalities is it, right? You have Baker Mayfield, who obviously have personality, and you have Odell Beckham Jr.
Sure.
Right? Odell Beckham Jr., a guy who posted a picture this morning of a rookie who was sleeping outside of the Cleveland Browns facility as his mood. You know why? Because talking to people in that building, he's taken this guy under his wing. He's made sure that this guy is okay. He's been a great teammate, which he's been throughout his career. Some of the personality things we see from Odell Beckham happen as implosions. It doesn't involve the quarterback. It doesn't involve the head coach. It's Odell Beckham wanting to be a better him at game time.
Right.
We don't hear things from Jarvis Landry. We don't hear things from David Njoku. We don't hear things from Nick Chubb. So I believe this personality chemistry thing is overblown. Here's the other thing. Odell Beckham Jr. has always been this guy, right? He had these type of emotions at LSU. You know why you never heard about him? Because when number 3, which Odell Beckham Jr. was at LSU, when he was going through these things, number 80 walked over. And for the first time in his career, number 80's there again, right? That guy is able to go walk over and say, hey, we need to do this. We need to do that. That guy is there to say, hey, brother, we are in this together. That's a different thing.
This is how I know, look, this is why I know you're good at this and you were playing chess. You knew I'd come back with this, but a moment ago, and make no mistake, I wasn't arguing for one series of Daniel Jones to prove that there's a quarterback controversy. I was arguing that it always happens. Right. So it's a matter of when, not if, when the rookie first-round quarterback replaces the incumbent. But now you are giving all this credit to the Browns for something that is totally unproven, that only exists on paper, that is a collection of individual talents. And you have to at least acknowledge the unknown of we have no idea if this unit, this team is going to be able to come together under a rookie head coach. And this is the key, man, in pressure environment, which I expect them to win, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a high-pressure environment. Competing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's a high-pressure environment.
But you know what,
playoffs, that's a high-pressure environment.
But you know what's a high-pressure environment for a quarterback? When you're on a team that's 0-16, when you come in and outplay.
Different kind of pressure,
right. But you outplay the veteran that is there, but they still don't start you.
Right.
And then when you start, you've already been 0-3. Your first opportunity is in prime time against the New York Jets.
Oh, man.
On
I'm not
Thursday
worried
night,
about Baker Mayfield
on
as an
Thursday
individual.
night, and you come out and you make plays.
But I'm not worried about Baker as an individual.
But think about the circus that followed, partly because of things that Baker said, but he continued to plug away. He continued to play ball. And there's been no athlete in the history of football that has been under a hotter microscope than Odell Beckham Jr. And when it comes,
but it always hadn't worked out either.
But when it comes to playing football, right? When it comes to playing football and him producing, the problem has never been him.
What about with Josh Norman?
He played with Eli.
What about when he went up against Josh Norman?
He killed Josh Norman. He dropped the ball. He dropped the ball.
In that
right?
example.
But we're talking about the overall statistics and production of Odell Beckham Jr. has been historic throughout the first 4 years of his career. And being with Baker Mayfield now and actually having a quarterback with talent, having a quarterback that's going to be upright. Now, if you'd have came here, Will, and said, you know what? We don't know what this defense is going to do under new defense coordinator Steve Wilks, how this team will play complementary football.
Right.
I'd have been like, man, you know what? That doggone Will Kane been studying. But you know what happened? You came in so hyped up and high off of Daniel Jones' euphoria, you forgot to prepare for this segment.
No. I am not worried about any of these individuals as individuals. I'm worried about all of these people coming together as a chemistry-filled unit, one that works over the long haul of an NFL season and on into the playoffs where the hype is required for them to. But you know
what you're missing?
Hold on, I'm not done.
You got it.
When I know that there's an option in that same division, one that you played for, that has proven itself.
That's why this is hard for me.
So Ryan,
go ahead.
I mean, obviously you're big on Pittsburgh in the AFC North. Do you think that the Browns' talent that they possess is enough to win out the AFC North?
I do. And I believe that the AFC North will get 2 teams into the playoffs. And I believe those teams are the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I've always believed that. I'm not out on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I understand there'll be some rebuilding there, but I just love what the Cleveland Browns have. And the other thing I think we're missing from the hype train is this. For everybody that's hyped about it, that's talking about what they can be on paper offensively, there's the Will Kings. There's so much coming from the outside saying, yeah, we know that you guys are talented, but we don't think you can handle it from a personality standpoint. We don't think you can handle it from a chemistry standpoint. What happens when the pressure goes on and you lose a game? I think that brings guys together.
Don't mistake the unknown for saying that they cannot. Don't mistake what I'm saying as the Browns will not be able to bring this together. What I'm pushing back on is the way that question is asked. Will they live up to the hype? The hype is out of control. And I acknowledge that the Browns are an unknown. But you know what's a known? the Pittsburgh Steelers, even with Juju Smith-Schuster, even with James Conner, with one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL,
Yeah.
I feel
Without
like
Antonio
it's a
Brown.
known that the Pittsburgh Steelers will be there. We're going to have to see about the Browns.
We'll see.
Okay,
Now
well,
I can't go back to
you know,
Pittsburgh.
we've got slightly different squads on both sides. The Steelers have won at least 9 games in each of their last 5 seasons, something the Browns have not done since 2007. So this might be their year to.
I'm not like Will Cam. I'm not just
All
going to
right,
wait for
you guys,
things
we
to
have a
happen
lot
to
more
say
to
I'm
come
right.
on First Take. Could Tom Brady finish his career somewhere else other than New England? That's a big question, and one of these guys thinks he could. Plus, the Teflon Don Rick Ross is in the house. First Take coming back in just a minute.